In the latest from the criminal gang trials in Chongqing, 23-year-old twin gang bosses were each jailed for 17 years. Jiang Po and Jiang Tao, who ran a gang involving some as young as 19, were also fined almost $15,000 each for organizing and leading a mafia-style gang, running gambling houses, the intentional injury of others, and their assets, and illegal detention. Despite the charges, Jiang Tao continued to protest his innocence, but neither twin will appeal the convictions. 12 people were found guilty of being a part of the brothers' gang. They will each serve between 1 year and 13 years in jail. Thousands of people have turned out to welcome the Dalai Lama during a controversial visit to a monastery close to the Tibetan border. The exiled Tibetan spiritual leader was in Tawang in India's state of Arunachal Pradesh, itself a source of dispute between Beijing and Delhi. China has accused the Dalai Lama of trying to undermine its rule in Tibet and says the visit is anti-China. But the Dalai Lama insists his visit is non-political. The freezing temperatures in Tawang did not deter thousands of villagers taking to the streets to catch a glimpse of the Dalai Lama in what was only his 5th visit to the monastery in 50 years. China has pledged to give Africa $10 billion in concessional loans over the next 3 years. Chinese Premier Wen Jiabao made the announcement at a summit over the weekend in Egypt. The Chinese leader attended a 2-day forum on China-Africa cooperation in Sharm el-Sheikh, where officials from 50 nations had gathered. Wen told the summit China would help Africa build up financing capacity, but he hit back at claims that Chinese interests in Africa were solely designed to finance China's growing energy needs. China pledged $5 billion of assistance at the last cooperation summit in Beijing in 2006, where agreements to relieve or cancel the debt of more than 30 African countries were signed. The Chinese capital is gearing up for an extended H1N1 vaccination program that will be open to everyone with a Beijing residence permit. The rollout will begin on November 16th. The capital plans to inoculate all of its registered permanent residents, some 12 million people. But there are around 5 million other people in Beijing who do not have a residence permit or who call. So far, Beijing has vaccinated close to 500,000 residents, many of whom were students and people with key public service jobs. Non-Beijingers living temporarily in the city might also be able to get the shot, but only if they work in important public service departments in the city. A Chinese scholar persecuted during the Cultural Revolution for smuggling a rare collection of mushrooms out of China has been honored at a ceremony where the collection was returned more than 70 years later. The Chinese Academy of Sciences in Beijing witnessed Cornell University President David Skorton handing over the collection that had been meticulously gathered by scholar Xu Chunteng. Teng studied mycology at Cornell University in the 1920s and spent the next decade gathering samples in his homeland. During the Japanese invasion in 1937, Teng arranged for his best specimens to be removed from a National Botany Institute to save them from destruction. And Phil Mickelson staged a late rally to win the HSBC Champions Tournament in Shanghai by 1 stroke over South Africa's Ernie Els. Mickelson made an 18-footer to save par on the 16th, then hold a 10-foot birdie on the 17th to close with a 369 and overcome a late charge by Els, who shot a course record at Sheshan International. Tiger Woods was never a factor in the final World Golf Championship of the year, falling 6 shots behind on the front 9 and doing well to stay on the leaderboard the rest of the way. He finished in a tie for 5th, 5 shots off the lead. Mickelson finished at 17 under 271 and earned $1.2 million with the win. And that's the BON headlines for now, but we'll be back with more news after this.